I was so sure that I want to talk about this, and I didn't care in which way, and I didn't care where it ends up. Coming from different perspectives, but leading all to the same core, which is entering Italy in a clever way, validate the idea, and do this in public. And understand if this is actually as good, as interesting, and as relevant as you think it is. 12% of women get funded from VCs actually is like a gap that I think everyone is by now aware of. This is man dominated, and that you would expect on the other side of the table sitting a man, not a woman, and especially also not a young woman.
Thank you very much again. May I start with the question, who are you and how are you these days?
So thank you very much, first of all, for having me. Yeah, my name is Eva. I am 34 years old. I live in Italy since 2.5 years, more or less. And yeah, after living here for a little bit, I dug very deep into the Italian system and culture. And this is basically the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. I created a brand, a personal brand around this topic about me living, working in Italy. And I talk a lot to people that are interested to either move or invest or to do both here in Italy. And yeah, so this is basically what I do now before Christmas with the outlook of going in Germany tomorrow, back to my family. I feel good. I feel joy. I'm very happy. And I realize in these days also how lucky I am that I am able to live this life in between these two countries and in between these two cultures. So yeah, I'm very happy.
You moved to Italy 2 years ago. When did you build your business? Was it back then already, or did you go to Italy with the idea of the business? And how did you find out that there is such a demand?
Yeah. So basically, everything was happening in a pretty short period of time. So more or less 3 years ago, I went to Naples to look for my nonno, my Italian grandpa, because my family was not in touch with this family for 50 years. It's actually a personal journey. So I went to Naples and I was looking for them. I had just a small postcard of 50 years ago that was from my grandpa, my Italian grandpa to my German grandma. And a very old picture that was very shitty. With this, I went there in the periferia of Naples and I was looking for him and for my family there. In the end, I ended up in Latina, which is close to Rome. And I found them. So I actually found them. Yeah, I kind of reunited these two families. And then a little bit later, I traveled in South America. I went from Mexico to Guatemala to Colombia with a backpack, actually. And I met a person from Sardinia there. And in this same summer, it was already planned that my family is going to meet the Italian family in Alghero, so in Sardinia. So basically, it was a kind of full circle thing. And yeah, shortly after, I went back to Berlin. I packed all my stuff and I went to Cagliari, Sardinia. It's basically, and so maybe to answer your question, no, I did not come here with the idea, which a couple of people assume this, with the idea in my head that I want to build something like this, but rather from a personal journey and background. And then after living, working here, I worked as a marketing strategist and business strategist as a freelancer. I had to move my business, basically. So I had to move everything I had myself. In this process, I understood what it means. From there, this entire thing was born. Basically, I understood, okay, so what about cross-border taxation? What about residency? What about citizenship? And what opportunities can you use? What incentives there are? And these kind of things. And when I started to talk about this stuff, either with people here on the island or also on LinkedIn, through my posts, there was a lot of attention around that. And it fell together with the time of a lot of people being very interested in investing in Italy for several reasons, which we can go further inside later. But yeah, basically everything was born from there.
Okay, so you moved to Italy and you were already working as a freelance. So you had already at least some source of income.
Exactly. Yeah. Simply wanted to say that for me, as I worked also in business strategy, this was not a huge step, you know. So basically, I was interested in how to build businesses and how to build products. And then I was in the world of marketing and strategy. So it was a kind of obvious thing for me to understand, first of all, for myself, but then also for others that had the same demand, issues, problems, challenges, were doing the same steps, you know.
Was it always like something you had in mind, like having your own business, being an entrepreneur, having your own projects?
Yeah, for sure. So I have this entrepreneurial core inside of me, definitely. And I always, since a long time, I was building things on the side. I was looking to build my own products. I even started businesses with my ex-clients. So there was always something entrepreneurial there, definitely.
And why do you think is it that I'm also including myself also that kind of thrive to build something, to create something? What is the reason? What is our goal? Like running towards something, or do you think that we are running away from something? Are we looking for validation, or is it that we want to reach financial freedom? But I don't think it's only that. What is your point of view on that?
Yeah, I think this is very interesting because a lot of people have different drivers, I think. So money for me is nothing that is so much a driver. It's definitely important. I think also for a lot of other entrepreneurs, for sure, this is something that you think about, but it's not the first thing when you wake up in the morning. So basically for me, I think I have an inner force that is telling me, okay, so what I know, what I found, what I just learned is something that I have to tell someone else. Why is that? I think there are several things coming together. Maybe it is validation, but also the wanting to talk about it, wanting to see how other people feel about it, reflect on it with someone else, and also the opportunity. So, what does that even mean, right? When I first understood, okay, so maybe here there are things that people don't know about at all, which was stunning for me, like real interesting incentives, regime, Bandi is things that are you can use for your business when you come here. And it was so obviously there, but people just didn't know. They didn't know about it. And they were shocked. Like there's the 7% regime, which I talked about very recently in a newsletter. So you can move to a small Italian village in the south with a pension, with a global pension, and then you can pay 7% tax for 10 years. It's something that literally people don't know about because Italy is so bad in marketing. Like it's huge in cultural IP, but is very bad in marketing. And this is due to a lot of reasons. But just to come back to the question, so the thing that made me crazy was that I discovered that, but no one knew it. And if I told someone, sometimes they wouldn't even believe me. And so I was like, okay, people, just 1 second. And yeah, this is a thing that kept with me, that stuck with me, that I wanted to have people knowing about this and thinking with me about the opportunity that this creates.
Did you build ItalyExit on your own, or do you have any business partners?
No, so ItalyExit is so many things, right? It started with my newsletter. So the ItalyExit plan was like my idea of yeah, people finding out all of these things that are there and building something around it, about it, coming to Italy. And now it evolved in several business streams. So I'm building this platform for Italian experts to help foreigners entering Italy. Then there are investment opportunities, so kind of club deals that I'm building. Is in the very early stages because, as I told you, like all of this started maybe 1 year ago, more or less, when I started like really posting about, talking about it, and developing the business. And then there are also other channels and things that I do, which are all or form all part of ItalyExit. So I'm building a kind of ecosystem, if you want, that all feeds into something in the end, hopefully. Let's see. But yeah, it's something that I do on my own, but for certain things, there are different people coming together. So it's business partners, or it's people that are building these opportunities that I promote, or people helping me building it. But the core is all me. So all my time is spent in this, basically.
On what channels are you marketing yourself or the project?
So I'm mainly using LinkedIn is my main channel that I use to communicate and to do basically all of my work because it's born there. It was born there very naturally. When I came back from another South America travel, so apparently I like traveling there a lot. So I came back in this year, actually in February, from Bolivia. And I was so sure that I want to talk about this. And I didn't care in which way, and I didn't care where it ends up. So it was not that I was there thinking like, okay, I want to create this kind of business, but I knew that I wanted to talk about these things with people. And there was no business plan or anything like, okay, I want to make money with this even. I was not thinking about this, but I knew that this is interesting, and I knew that people would relate to that. These were the two things that I was sure about. And so I simply started talking about it. So it hit me really like in end of March, I think April. There was like a 1, 2, 3 posts that went through the roof, and people were messaging me. And I think what a lot of times people don't understand is when you have 1,000 likes on a post or whatever, and like 500 comments, that means that these people will write to you.
So
They will reach out. And me being super like naive about this thing was thinking, oh, yeah, okay, great. This is great. I can finally talk to someone that is interested in this. This is perfect. And so I did. I had the wish to answer to everyone personally, because I perfectly know how it is when you are someone who's asking about something, or when you're someone who's interested about something, and you're reaching out to someone on a social channel, and you are being ignored, and it's something that I personally hate. I think everyone has this feeling of like, hey, please acknowledge that. Yeah. And so I was like, no, I don't do that. I'm answering to every single person. And so I did. And I cannot tell you what a mess this created, because I found myself like answering to people, having calls, doing like this kind of thing for months, which was great because I learned a lot. And I think that the content got so much even better or more engaging, more focused, because I was talking to people, to real people who had real questions and real problems.
that's actually one thing I wrote about a few weeks ago on my newsletter. Also, like in general, I think if you want to start something, you don't have to have like the perfect solution. I think it's more important to start quickly and to solve kind of a than to have the perfect product or perfect MVP.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is a common thing, because usually, so also me, I'm not a first time founder in this sense. I did a lot of things before, and I tested a lot of things. And I think in a way, you kind of end up with something that feels more you. And this is often due to you giving up on a lot of other things. So you give up on being perfect. You give up on, okay, I want to talk about things that only interest me. You give up on something that you thought would work for someone else. And so you start to becoming some version of yourself in a way. And this resonates with others so much.
You mentioned there was no specific goal or at the beginning of the project, but but did you feel any kind of fear of failing?
So basically, I was very lucky because I never let my activities from before, my freelance work, I never let this fully go. So I kept on working with my clients. It changed a little bit because I started to work with clients also that were planning to move in Italy. So it was a kind of combination of what I did before and what I did then, which was great because I kind of took an additional element to what I did anyway and combined it with the skills that I had. That allowed me to not fear so much it failing. And I think this is also what you read through when you, I mean, I don't do that. I don't read my posts from the past, but I think that is something that you can feel. I have a very direct and maybe fearless way of speaking. I think I'm way more like easy in the things that I say, even though there is an element of challenge in it and risk. If you have a certain kind of reputation, if you have a certain kind of audience base, people that like your content, that follow you, you have the responsibility for them. And especially in the field of finance, investment, private equity, I think you definitely feel that because you cannot just say something that is not bulletproof. It's very difficult, but still I try to open conversations with maybe sometimes edgy statements. Yeah, because I want this dialogue.
In the end, it's also like your personal brand behind it.
Exactly. Yeah. So you always have this element, right? You always have the element of risk. And also I over the time, so what changed definitely for me, I started to obsess over this. And I think as any founder and content creator also, you have to try to keep the simplicity and the being relaxed about what you release in a way, which is way more difficult in this field, as I said. But if, as me, if you want to do things 100%, if you want to deliver any time, every time, then yeah, it's hard to keep that. It's hard to keep up with that and to kind of fulfill your own expectations and maybe also the expectations that you reflect into your audience.
You said, okay, you were always like doing something entrepreneurial, but was there something that you really didn't expect, or there was something really challenging for you?
So yeah, I mean there were a lot of things that were challenging for sure. First of all, I don't come from this world, so I didn't study at Bocconi and I have a business law degree or something like this. So for sure, that is all part of this. What I was just describing, maybe entering a new field and still showing confidence about it, because a lot of times yeah, for sure you have your knowledge, you did your research, you know about the stuff, you talk to a bunch of people, and but it's a different thing to say this in front of 1,000 people or maybe 10,000 people or maybe sometimes 500,000 people is a completely different thing. And so not coming from this field, I had to learn a lot, really, really a lot. And yeah, it's my natural curiosity, I guess, that was driving me also inside of this journey. And it was challenging, but very satisfying at the same time, I would say.
You mentioned that was a new field for you. I think it makes it a bit more difficult because, on the other hand, I think it's the easiest thing to start like your entrepreneurial journey, something you know already. But it's much more difficult to start something you don't had spent like the last 10 years in that kind of industry.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Also because it was not that I chose that field. It was not that I thought like, oh wow, this is something that I want to do for a living, but it was something that interested me so much, and other people then too, that I felt kind of I kind of owed it to them and to myself to understand it better and better and better and deeper and deeper. It was more this kind of thing.
I think if you're really passionate about something, I think it will work out in some kind of way or have some positive outcome economically, or you get to know other people who help you with another project.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. So you need something that, yeah, as we said in the beginning, something that drives you. And I think especially if you work for a while, like me, more or less like 5 years, 6 years as a freelancer in my field, I was very surprised how much that gave me and that added value to another field. Because basically what I did, I applied what I knew, like that clarity matters in communication to, if you want, so to an entire country, and said like, wait, this is the worst marketing campaign of all times that Italy is doing here. And I don't know why.
When you said, okay, you posted and there was like a very good feedback, like hundreds of comments and likes, was that the moment where you said, okay, this is a real business now?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So latest when people were like asking me, hey, can you give me advice? Can you support me? Can you hold my hand? I want to like move here. I want to buy a house or I want to start a business. Latest then, I knew, okay, there is something missing. Maybe this was more what I was noticing than thinking for myself, okay, this is my business now. I was thinking more like, okay, why is nobody seeing that? Or why is nobody doing that? Because what I found is there's a bunch of services and offerings around people that want to move in terms of, okay, you have an agency maybe that you can call, who's packing up your stuff and putting it in another house, another country, vacation, sometimes visa services, or even there is this kind of, I guess, coaching around, okay, I'm a rich family from the US and want to relocate to Puglia. I think it exists in some way. Um, but there is not so much for this audience that I talk to, which is much entrepreneurs that are looking for opportunities, also investors or people in general that are in the business world and want to, yeah, look a little bit further than their own country. Also, dynamics are changing and globally. And so, yeah, I was trying to figure out all of this at the same time. So who is even my client, But they answered it for me because there were people saying like, "Hey, I want to move in Italy. Can you help me?" And I was saying like, "No, actually no. If you want to move, yeah, I can tell you what I like. I can tell you even what would be a very good or a clever place to buy or something like this, but I cannot help you moving. What I can do is help you building a business. Sure. There I can help you. And this is actually what I was doing, what I was starting and what I'm still doing.
To make it more clearer, maybe you can explain a bit better, a bit more in detail what ItalyExit is exactly doing and which kind of problems is your business solving.
Yeah. So as I said, there were people like writing to me, hey, I don't know, I have an amazing villa that is located there and there, and I want to do something with it, but I don't know what. Can you help me? Or people that knew already, okay, so I bought something there, or I want to buy something there, or I want to move myself and build a business, but I don't know how, and I don't know who to talk to and who can help me because basically I cannot just randomly call anybody in Italy. I cannot call a lawyer and say like, "Hey, I want to do that," because they don't listen to me and they cannot help me. And I was like, yeah, I know. And what drew them to me was, I think, the clarity that I had, which I used to describe the possibilities that there are. And so they wanted to combine their dream of Italy or their business idea or whatever they had in mind or had already physically here to make it clever, to make it a clever move. And this is what ItalyExit does. It helps you to do an intelligent move, and not only a move, and a business move. So it really changes the perspective and this romantic idea of Italy that people have into something that is structured and clear and tangible. I think this is really the core of it. And whatever business evolving around this should have this goal to help you enter an intelligent way.
So I'm writing to you, okay, I wanna move, invest, and move my business to Italy. How does the process work? And also, like, how do you charge your clients? Do you
So basically, it depends what you need and what you want. I have to say people like just say people every time, all the time, like, no, I cannot help you. But the few that I can help that are inquiring about, okay, I know I want to move to Italy, build a business there. Okay, perfect. What I can help with is I can tell you where you could go based on what you want to do. So I know the market pretty well now, and I know where the opportunities are, and I'm looking and following the development of the market, especially in terms of real estate. So I try to understand. Obviously, I'm not, as this is not my background, I cannot advise people legally, but I can tell them from my view and from the numbers and the analysis I do. I can tell them, hey, if you want to buy and you want this kind of situation, this kind of place, then that could be a clever idea. This could be a clever idea. So I can advise them on where to buy, for example, and also what to buy. Because one very, very important problem, in my opinion, challenge that a lot of people have is not only understanding where, but it's understanding what. And as naturally, a lot of people are looking into hospitality business here because they have the combination of a lifestyle goal that they want to achieve, but a clever investment that they want to do. And hospitality is combining this in a nice way with real estate. And also, at the same time, Italy is releasing a lot of incentives around hospitality and real estate. So they are coming to things together perfectly now. So if you are a client and you want to work with me and you want, let's say you want a retreat business in Lombardia, then I can help you build this. I can help you understand cross-border taxation, depending on the country of your origin, depending on your needs, on your lifestyle, what you want to realize. And usually I work with other sets of experts. Either you bring them or I bring them. So there's usually a lawyer involved, a commercialista, a tax consultant involved, and other people, geometra, whatever is needed in order to find a building, the purchase, then business plan, realization, execution, what do you want to do, how you can benefit from bandi incentives that there are. What about your personal tax situation? So can you use a regime, which, for example, could be the 7% or the 50% impatriati, or other regime that you could use, forfettario, for example? How do you build around the system clever? Because the system in Italy can be very challenging.
One more question. What is bandi exactly?
I think in English it's public halls where it can be a state or it can be a national bando or a regional bando that they open, and so you can apply for
Yeah.
this bando to get a tax advantage, a grant, a loan, whatever.
I imagine that it's quite difficult to build your network in Italy over there without speaking the language, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Especially in the south. So we didn't got into this yet, but I'm very active in the south because first of all, I'm located more in the south, and also second of all, is way more interesting for me because it's not so exploited yet. I see a lot of future potential here. And I personally, the culture, I like that it's more originally Italian, at least in my view. So I'm more active here, and here you need Italian. If you don't speak Italian, it could be very challenging, especially if you want to implement any kind of business. So yeah, I didn't speak Italian before I came here. I spoke a little bit of Spanish, which helped me a lot. And now I speak it, yeah, I think I'm pretty solid, but still, business Italian is challenging also for me.
One question before we move into a completely new area. Since, well, people are still talking about the mafia in Italy, right? Is this still a thing or something you have to be aware of, you have to be afraid of, or not, or is it not the case?
So, yeah, it's very strange when you talk to people about that, because there's always this how do people don't like to talk about it, especially to foreigners. I think that Italians just, even though they complain a lot about their own country, in my opinion, it's like with your own child. You basically, maybe it annoys you, but you would never allow someone else to say something bad about it. And so the picture that you want to paint is not that of Italy. Also me, because it's maybe part of it, but it's nothing that should represent this country, not at all. And so just to explain this, because I think a lot of times people are irritated about it, and now also me when I'm answering, I'm kind of floating around about it, but I don't want to, but it's the natural thing, because I cannot tell you, yes, there's the mafia and it's an issue, because no, for me personally, I tell you, was never in touch with anyone. And also the people that I do business with here is not an issue for them. But I'm in Sardinia, so it's also for particular place, it is an issue. So when you go in certain parts of Campania or Sicily, it's a different scenario. And there, sometimes you hear stories about people that purchased a huge, I don't know, and then the neighbor came by and said hello and was like, hey, ragazzi, now you have to like pay a certain amount of money, or maybe next time it's all on fire here. And this is not even people from abroad having this, facing this, but also like Italians coming there. So it's a hard thing to answer. That exists in certain parts, less way. I would say every year. Basically, it's harder for any kind of structure like this to exist. Also, after a lot of reforms that Italy did, but it's nothing that should scare anyone away from doing anything here. Just be clever about it, find local people, and then you can go everywhere.
Perfect. I'm also interested because like investing and real estate is maybe still kind of a male-driven industry, or maybe you can tell me your view on this. But do you feel that you had to prove yourself because you're a woman?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a very interesting thing, like in general in business, I think. So first of all, real estate itself, I think there maybe you can find more women also now that own agencies, that sell houses, that are big in business, and this is fine. Where I see more discrepancy maybe is investing. That we see, and we know all of us. I think I just read something in the Financial Times about, like, I think it was like 12%, 10% of women get funded from VCs actually, is like a gap that I think everyone is by now aware of. And I think, but it was the first time also for me, like really experiencing this. So my challenge was never like here in Italy with the society being conservative, or like problems that I faced as being a woman here. But the more challenging thing is when you start to go inside of this investment world. And also me like putting together, as I said, this kind of private club deals now, which is also a new thing for me. I understood very fast that this is a man dominated, and that you would expect on the other side of the table sitting a man, not a woman, and especially also not a young woman. I think there's also like a crucial difference. Maybe also what I was saying, that my background is not in this, but yeah, there is a very narrow path for you as a woman, is what I feel personally. where you have to be very aware of what you do and what you say, which makes it definitely more difficult, because either you can be perceived as not knowing enough, or if you are very confident, you're very fast and you're very showing an image of, I don't know, being, yeah, I don't want to say the word, but being like
It's like that women are oftentimes like expected to be either too soft
mhm,
or on the other end like too direct, too like kind of overperforming or something like that.
exactly.
But how was it for you?
So I faced this definitely. So I think, yeah, exactly, the way in the middle. So the rule for me is always clarity. So what makes it way more easy for me every time, every conversation is, okay, go from what you know and just be very clear about it. So sometimes people are, I don't want to say shocked, but they are like astonished by how honest and transparent I am. I tell immediately, hey, listen, I don't have a legal background. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a commercialista. I am personally interested in these things and I research this for myself and my audience, but I'm not this, this, and this. I can help you with that, that, and that. And if this is not you and this is not what you need, then we cannot work together. So this is something that helps me, that maybe makes it more easy.
Do you think it's harder for women?
It depends on what you do, but if you do what I do, I think yes. So if you're building something in a field where you only talk to men, it's harder. I know it because even now, when I have a certain visibility, the most of my clients are women. And for me, this is astonishing because 99% of people writing to me are men. You know what I mean? So basically, this reduces the chance of me working with a woman dramatically. And I I mean, it depends on what exactly you're looking at. But it's very hard, I think, to be in a sector that is so dominated by men. It's
Do
hard
you
to
also feel,
explain.
yeah, you also have the feeling to represent women or to meet that kind of expectation or any kind of expectation?
So no, I think I don't represent women. No, I don't think so. Also because it's not what I write on my flag. So for me, being a woman, so it's something that I feel for me, but that I usually don't acknowledge in my content or in my brand. It's something I think I once posted about the fact that basically only men reach out to me. And this was an interesting post. I think there evolved some kind of comment section about that. But I barely reflect or reveal, let's say, yeah, behind the scenes. Exactly. It's not because I don't want to talk about it, but it's more due to the to how I build my brand. It's nothing that is relevant for what I talk about there, and so I don't want to make it a topic in a way, if that makes sense. I just want it to be. I want it to speak for itself.
Yeah, makes sense. Maybe one question. There is like kind of a difference. For example, men tend to take more risks than women. If any young woman would like to start a project or something, what advice would you give?
So coming back to the clarity that helps me a lot, I think this is something that I would advise anybody. Try to be as clear as you can on what you're doing and why you are doing it. Because I think this is also something, maybe we come back to this point later, but a lot of people ask me, what is it actually that you're doing? But they almost never ask, why are you doing that? And this is a way more interesting question. at least for me. But so yeah, clarity definitely. So be very clear on why you are doing what you're doing, and it's kind of stupid, but be confident in it, because I think a very big struggle is really confidence. I am already a very confident person. I'm very stable. I know basically, or I think I know what I want, and I go in a very straight direction. But even for me, and now I went through this 100,000 times with a lot of men, as I said, like explaining what I do, justifying what I do, and so on and so forth. But still, for me, it's a huge thing. So I have to gather the confidence. And I feel that men are just way more naturally super confident. They just explain what they do. And they just say, yeah, this is gonna work. But women, I think, I don't know, obviously not everyone, but for me, I can speak for myself. I reflect on this. I doubt myself. I want to be 100% correct, and especially in this field, and so on and so forth. I have struggled with the reality that maybe someone could lose money because of my advice. You know, I feel men being way more comfortable with this kind of situation.
So you
So
mentioned like one advice would be like to be to be very clear. Anything else?
learn to be confident. I think, and it is something that I for sure had to learn and still continue learning.
Otherwise, I would raise another question, which is more about money, and I was interested in to know, did you bootstrap like everything you built around ItalyExit? Did you ask for any financing, or do you want to do it? Or...
Yeah. So not yet. Not yet, basically. As I said, like from February on this year, so it's pretty recent project as it is now. The main driver is LinkedIn, as I said, and my personal brand. So it's all still in the making. I had a couple of opportunities to find the right person for the right project or property. So I was connecting some people to some opportunities here in Italy, but this is far from like raising money for my own business. It's something that maybe I would consider, but in some way, I was often thinking about it, but in some way, I think I might not need it. What is way more relevant for me is either, I don't know, it's not bootstrapping, but collecting investment for projects here. So what I was talking about was like these kind of club deals. So now there is the first real interesting opportunity here in Cagliari that I'm building with a local team. They are all from here. I'm the only foreigner, and they trust me with this to open it to foreigners. And so this will be the kind of raising money for something that I will do rather than do it for my own business. But I will definitely be part of that deal. And so therefore, this is going to be a project that I will actively participate in, do the investor relations, and it's going to open in January 26th, basically tomorrow.
Very, I'm happy for you. Good news, right? Any more plans like for ItalyExit in the next year?
Yeah, definitely. So this is going to be the first, which is very concrete. There's another project in Nuoro, so also Sardinia, which is a hotel project. It's a similar situation. So also there, foreign investors are coming together to support a local club deal. This is going to be probably January, February. And from there, the plan is to build a portfolio. So basically, what we are looking to do is find these kind of, let's say, local entrepreneur-led projects with people that are from the place. It doesn't have to be Sardinia. It can be Puglia, Sicily, Campania, places in the south or even in the north of Italy, where there is a group or one single person that leads the project and executes it. And opening this to a global audience, I think, is very interesting. it's something that I've been looking into since almost a year now. I quickly understood that this is the direction where I want to go, but I wasn't sure how, because so the core of all the things that I'm doing is, let's say, I want to not only promote this place, but I want to grow this place, if that makes sense. So how to grow a destination through the people there and the people that are doing stuff there. And it took me a lot of thinking, a lot of talking, and just also time to reflect on what is the best way to do that, and also what is the most clever way. Because I can go every day to some agent here and say like, hey, do you have a nice property that you want to sell to a foreigner? And they are super happy, saying like, yeah, for sure. I give you all the conditions that you want, and please open this to the public. But this will not sustainably grow this destination, and entrepreneurs will. And for me, they are kind of the key to do that in the best way that I can imagine. I mean, it's something that for me makes total sense. These are people that want good for their own place. They live here.
It's also like kind of building a community, right?
Exactly, yeah. And it's very much connected. Like building community is something that is core of all the things I do, and ItalyExit for sure. Because why am I building this platform for experts? I mean, I could say like, here, I'm the best, I know everything, like come to me, I give you the advice. No, it's not what I want to do. I want that people get the best advice. And how can they get the best advice is from each other person that knows the thing, but you have to find them. The challenge is not that they are not there. The challenge is to find them.
How did you do that?
Find them. So they found me and they are still finding me. And it's an ongoing thing. I mean, there are a bunch of people. I have an entire list of people that I want to onboard. But as there's so much going on, obviously it's a slow process. Some of them onboard themselves. And so this is good for me. I mean, I mainly have to check like, is that really legit or not? But in the end of the day, everyone that wants to offer their help is very welcome, because each and every one of us has like for sure a skill that is not only sellable but valuable to someone. Yeah, and is it in real estate? Is it in hospitality? Is it in venture building? I don't know. But in the end, there is like maybe just a certain number of people that are, first of all, interested in that field, helping people from the outside, but also having the ability in terms of language, experience, being in the right place at the right time, and so on and so forth. And so collecting them and making them visible basically is the.
In the beginning, you mentioned you started ItalyExit without having like a specific goal or whatever. With the journey since February, in a perfect world, how would ItalyExit look like in 5 years? What would be the dream scenario for you when everything works out perfectly?
So what I really like it to be is this kind of ecosystem that I was describing, coming from different perspectives, but leading all to the same core, which is entering Italy in a clever way. So yeah, they are already developing these elements of the business and these streams, if you want, that crystallize themselves. So building a kind of portfolio of opportunities for sure is one goal that I have. And this will be in the direction of real estate hospitality, because it's something that right now in Italy is just extremely attractive for locals and for foreigners. And then the part of like helping people enter. So building a network around experts that actually can help you. Maybe I hope this is going to support each other in a way, because if you are a foreigner and you're looking to invest here and you are maybe not having a visa or whatever, then there is a person that can help you do that and do that in a clever way. So for sure, building a community of entrepreneurs that are interested in Italy, that want a foothold in Italy. I don't say that they want to move here or that they want to have their base here even, but that want to grow something in this country. Building a community like this would be the goal.
I think you're quite happy with the success of ItalyExit. But with success, problems get bigger. You always face new problems. So my question would be, do you think life is getting easier for you or more complex because of that?
It's a very good question. So I think that over the last month, so maybe over the last 6 months, I would say, life got a little bit more difficult because of the way that I built my brand with the expectation that I had or have about it. And then, like maybe everyone, you kind of reflect on it and you think about it, you try to make things better, to move them a little bit and to form them and shape them in a better way. And so you are thinking about yourself and what you can optimize and whatnot. So I think that I had like a curve that was in the beginning shot up like sky high. I was super happy. I was releasing a lot of content. Everything went very well. Then I struggled to realize something out of it. This made life very difficult for a while. And then when there was this, I would almost call it pushback. So there was just simply people reacting on what I was doing. When this became more clear in what direction this would go and what they really want from me, and what I could actually also offer them, then life got easier again. And also with my own process, with my own head, like telling me like, hey, calm down, find the right direction. You don't have to be perfect. Um, you know, these things help me, like just take one step back. Now, for example, over the last weeks, now December, I'm doing a LinkedIn break. So I'm not posting anything in the last days, in the last weeks, because of many reasons. But one of them is like end of the year. It's nothing that I feel that I am obliged to. I don't want to own this to anybody. I do this because I like it. And it was always like this. And as soon as this is becoming a job of its own, it's too much. It should support what I do, but it should not be my existence.
Did you ever feel kind of lonely on this journey?
Yeah, a little bit. Because no one can relate to what you're doing and no one can understand. And people, as I said in the very beginning, it's so funny for me. People just don't realize what that means to be so visible. And I mean, I'm not like a top influencer on LinkedIn. I'm not a guru. I don't do like incredible stuff. I'm just building my thing that I do. But I was overwhelmed by how many people were reaching out to me. And I think that they didn't realize what that meant, what it means to be in a conversation with 50 strangers in one day. And yeah, this is something that was new to me too. So I had to find systems about it, and I don't know. Recently, I downloaded every single conversation I do these things, right? So I try to understand better, and so I downloaded everything, which was like 10,000 rows in an Excel, and yeah, I fed it into my AI agent and said like, hey, come on, didn't do it, didn't do nothing. I had to write a script in the end and find some ways to do an analysis about it, and turned out like there were incredibly like an incredible amount of input that I was receiving and output that I was delivering. And if you look on that, you're like, what the fuck? So this is insane. And then you realize what that means. But if you don't have it so visible in front of you, yeah. What I also did, what was was interesting for me. I checked, there's like this kind of score, social sellability score, something like this. I don't know if you know it, on LinkedIn. Someone was posting about it, and so I was like, okay, I have to check that. I want to know. So I did, and it kind of scores you and tells you like, okay, you are among the 80 top influencers about your topic whatsoever. And there are 4 parameters. So it kind of ranks you based on them. And one of them for me was super strong, like 25 out of 25 possible percentage of points or whatever. And was like the building relationships was completely blue. And I was like, okay, wow, this is so. I think that my skill is really building relationships and building trust. Trust and clarity are the things that, yeah, that are most important in my communication.
With regards to the visibility, do you think you still have to hide some parts of yourself because you now have gained more visibility, or do you always try to be like completely clear and authentic, and or how did you deal with that?
So, yeah, I think basically everyone or most people try to be like 100% authentic themselves and whatnot. I don't have to feel that I have to hide something. I think like right from the start, I was just conscious about what I said before about this behind the scenes things. Because it's not that I don't want to reveal something that is too personal, because usually I don't have a problem about it. But it's more like I try to curate for relevancy. So, what is really relevant to them? And I feel that maybe the why, and this is why they don't ask about it, the why you do that is not so relevant to them. You understand? So it's not that I have the feeling that I have to hide something, but it's more the feeling like, okay, that maybe could not interest anybody.
Imagine one thing. Imagine ItalyExit disappeared tomorrow. Who would you still be?
Yeah, it's a difficult question because it's obviously very, very much attached to me. It's very, it's a big part of my days and who I am for sure. But it's not my entire existence. I think if this would disappear, I would more or less do the same thing that I do. I mean, I kind of felt this. It's funny because I kind of felt this now when I stopped posting in December. So I had this feeling because, as I said, like my entire brand and everything I do is built and the base of this is LinkedIn. So when I stop it, it doesn't exist in a way, right? Obviously, it doesn't stop existing. But as soon as I stop talking about it, I have the feeling, the personal feeling that it is not there. And so I think I would still do what I do, right? Because it was basically the thing that I did before, and it's also the thing that I do now. The difference is talking about it and making it visible to others. I think this is also something that a lot of people don't recognize. Like maybe you do something amazing there, but if you don't talk about it, no one will know. And so, yeah, is the entire game of a personal brand or of anybody who wants their work maybe also making a difference.
What do you mean by making a difference? Um,
A difference in the life of someone else. So I just imagine like if I would have not talked about that and be so public about it and so on and so forth, um, a lot of things wouldn't have happened up to the point of people not moving here, not being here, not changing their life. And this is why inside of all of this, there comes together what you said: responsibility, risk, money, publicity, visibility, credibility, brand, like all of these elements, especially in this field, the stakes are high. And this is maybe why it's difficult to build something like this. And it's long. It's nothing that is finished. It's right in the start still. It feels like in baby shoes still, even though there are lots of people following and being interested and inquiring about the services. It still feels like a baby.
So no matter how successful the things get, do you still have any kind of doubts about yourself, about the project, about something you still haven't figured out?
Sure, like a lot. Like everyone, I guess. Like, so for me, as I said, like tapping into this world of private equity, club deals, real estate, hospitality, this is something that for me is extremely interesting, and I learned a lot about it already. But as never doing it, being a first-time founder in this as well, in a way, this is something where I basically rely on people that are better than me, more experienced than me, and know their shit. So yeah, it's like this. So basically, when I created the financial model for this first deal here in Cagliari, and it's still not 100%. I shot it forth and back with someone I know to figure out, like, okay, would you do it like this, or do you think it's better like that? I have a lot of doubts about myself, but at the same time, you can solve it, I think, with people that you surround yourself with that are more experienced in certain fields, and also by I especially do it for myself by reassuring, with reading more, learning more, talking to more people, and gathering as much evidence or data as I can get. Because at a certain point, you have to stop. It's something that brings the field. Like, there is risk, there is huge responsibility, especially if there's money of other people involved. But yeah, you kind of have to deal with it.
I guess there are many people out there who are still thinking about a certain project, or they want to create something. What would you recommend for those kind of people? Because I think a lot of people are still waiting for like the perfect timing, the uncertainty they have about the project, if it's working out well or not. What would you advise to them?
So yeah, as I said, my journey might be a specific one, but it started because I started to share what I learned. So maybe because I think a lot of people start with an idea, or they hear something that they really like, and then they want to build it. And this is absolutely fair. I think this is great if you find something that you really like, and you start building it. But what I learned, and this is maybe also true because my world is very close to the startup world and to people like pitching and yeah, raising money and bootstrapping, whatever. What I see a lot is people going this way. So they have something interesting, they start to build around their product, their service, but I think it's very, very good if you validate first. Validate the idea and do this in public, and understand if this is actually as good, as interesting, and as relevant as you think it is. Because it's shaping your journey anyway. There are lots of startups, also successful ones, that started with something that was not the final product that they had. And this shows for me that you can basically put out anything, but it can become something completely different that you never expected. But it's due to the fact that it's at some point very public, and the demand will shape what you do. And so for me, that means one thing, that in the end, it doesn't matter so much the product, but it matters what you are doing every day. So what you are talking about every day, what interests you, what you read about, what are your inputs and your outputs. It's this.
How would you validate an idea?
like I did. I would push it out. I would say like, "Hey guys, so what is the world thinking? Please give me some." It's with most of the things that I do. It really comes from me, from, "Hey, I think this is very interesting," or "This is shit. This is valuable." So what matters? And the thing that matters is what you learned. There's a very visual maybe example for this. So what I really love, take the topic of taxes. Okay. So the thing is, you pay too much tax. Okay. If you say that to someone, most people will agree, right? You pay too much. This is something, a really relevant core belief that people have. They nod to this immediately because everyone can feel that and agrees immediately. And it's something very strong, very clear, you pay too much tax. And this is not a product, it's not a service, but behind this, there are lots of products and services. But it's a core truth that you're addressing there. And this is something I think that people that are looking to build anything have to understand. What is the core belief that people are holding and that they are challenging every day? The strong core belief, because paying too much tax is a real pain that you can solve.
I have only one question left. What is your area you are still struggling in your own life?
So you mean professionally?
As you wish. Do you have something where you would say, okay, this is the thing I'm struggling the most?
Yeah, so I think it is that topic that we touched already a couple of times now, this balance act between wanting to change a system with something powerful, but at the same time taking the responsibility for other people's choices. So this is something I really still struggle with. Maybe you can describe it as the impact of what I do. Because I had some core belief my own in the very beginning when I started, which was, in the end, nobody cares anyway. So I was starting off with, I can do anything that I want. I can post anything that I want, and it doesn't matter because my role in the life of that person reading it is so tiny. So it was something that I hold as a belief for myself for a very long time, for a very, very long time. Even though I got some kind of small evidence that it was not like this. But I still also today try to calm myself down with this thought. Like, okay, so in the end of the day, what kind of role are you playing in this person's life? And what I struggled with at some point was that this image was breaking a little bit. Yeah. Because, yeah, sometimes you play a role in the life of someone and you might not know it, or you know it. And that makes things difficult or more difficult, I guess. The impact of what you do.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything, for being honest, for explaining your journey. And I'm really, really happy about the conversation we've had now. And yeah, if I need any advice regarding Italy, of course I will will get back to you without a doubt.
Sure, you're very
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you so much. It was very, very nice.
Thank you, Eva.